She isn't who she says she is. That is when I realized the truth. My family had always looked down on my husband, Taro, for being unemployed. They would often joke that I was the one supporting him, and that he was just a lazy good-for-nothing. But little did they know, Taro had been working on a secret project, one that would change our lives forever. As we sat at our anniversary dinner, his secretary walked in and called him Mr. Chairman. I was shocked, and my family's faces turned pale with embarrassment. What was going on? Why was Taro being called Mr. Chairman? I had so many questions, but before I could ask any of them, Taro just smiled and said, "It's time I showed you all what I've been working on." Suddenly, the room fell silent, and all eyes were on Taro. But what did he mean? And what was this secret project that had been hiding in plain sight? I still remember the day we got married like it was yesterday. My family was not thrilled about our union, to say the least. They thought Taro was not good enough for me, that he was not ambitious enough, and that he would never be able to provide for me. And as the years went by, their doubts only seemed to grow. They would constantly compare him to my cousins, who were all successful and wealthy. But I knew Taro was different. He had a good heart, and he loved me for who I was. Or so I thought. As the days turned into weeks, and the weeks turned into months, I started to notice that Taro was acting strangely. He would disappear for hours at a time, and when I asked him where he was, he would just tell me that he was out looking for a job. But I knew that couldn't be true. There were no jobs in our town, and even if there were, Taro was not the type of person to just sit around and do nothing. So, what was he doing? And why was he being so secretive about it? I tried to brush it off, to focus on my own life and my own problems. But the more I tried to ignore it, the more it seemed to eat away at me. And then, the day of our anniversary arrived, and with it, the truth. Taro's secretary walked into our dinner party, and called him Mr. Chairman. I was stunned. What did it mean? And why was Taro being called that? I looked at my family, and they all looked just as shocked as I was. But as I looked at Taro, I saw something in his eyes that I had never seen before. It was a glint of pride, of satisfaction. And in that moment, I knew that everything was about to change. As the days passed, I couldn't shake off the feeling that something was off. Taro was acting strange, and I couldn't understand why. He would come home late at night, exhausted, and then leave early in the morning, without even saying goodbye. And when I asked him what was going on, he would just tell me that he was busy with work. But what work? He didn't have a job, or at least, that's what I thought. I started to feel like I was living with a stranger, someone who was hiding secrets from me. And then, one day, I decided to follow him. I trailed behind him, careful not to be seen, as he made his way to a large office building. I watched as he walked in, and then I followed him, trying to stay out of sight. As I made my way to the top floor, I saw a sign that read Nakahara Industries. Nakahara? That was Taro's last name. What did it mean? I pushed open the door, and what I saw took my breath away. Taro was standing in front of a large desk, surrounded by people in suits. They were all looking at him, listening to what he had to say. And then, I saw it. A large screen behind him, with the words Nakahara Industries emblazoned on it. It was then that it hit me. Taro was not just any ordinary person. He was the chairman of a large corporation. But why had he kept it a secret? And what did it mean for our future together? As I stood there, trying to process what I was seeing, Taro turned around and caught my eye. He smiled, and then beckoned me to come over. I walked towards him, my heart pounding in my chest. What was going on? Why had he kept this a secret? As I reached his side, he put his arm around me and pulled me close. "I'm sorry I didn't tell you," he said. "I wanted to surprise you." Surprise me? How could he keep something like this a secret? But as I looked into his eyes, I saw the sincerity there. He had done it for me, for us. He had worked hard to build this company, to provide for us, and to make a better life for ourselves. And as I thought about it, I realized that I had been just as guilty. I had been so caught up in my own doubts and fears that I had never stopped to think about what Taro might be going through. I had never stopped to think about what he might be hiding. And as the truth sank in, I felt a wave of shame wash over me. I had been so blind, so selfish. But as I looked at Taro, I saw that he was not angry. He was not hurt. He was just happy, happy to have shared his secret with me, happy to have me by his side. And in that moment, I knew that everything was going to be okay. We were in this together, and we would face whatever came next, side by side. As we stood there, wrapped in each other's arms, I realized that I had learned a valuable lesson. I had learned that sometimes, the things that seem the most ordinary can be the most extraordinary. And I had learned that with trust, love, and support, anything is possible. Taro's secret had been a shock, but it had also been a wake-up call. It had made me realize that I had been taking him for granted, that I had been assuming that he was not capable of great things. But he was. He was capable of building an empire, of creating a better life for us. And as I looked into his eyes, I knew that I would never underestimate him again. I would never assume that I knew what he was capable of. Because the truth was, I didn't. And that was what made life so exciting. The unknown, the unexpected, the surprises that came our way. And as we walked out of the office, hand in hand, I knew that our future was bright. We would face challenges, we would face obstacles, but we would face them together. And with Taro by my side, I knew that we could overcome anything.